What page was homework on?
121.
Thank you. 121 and 122. What kind of questions did you come across on last night's homework? What do we, evens, odds, all? It was all?
6.
Oh, yeah. 8. You got it. Number 8. 121, right? Is that the right one, Sophia? Okay. All right, first thing, we have to make it equal to 0, so we have to move the 5x over by subtracting it. So I'll get to this. Is everybody okay with that move so far? And then we can identify A is 3, B is -5, C is 9. Does everybody have the quadratic formula memorized? Because you'll have to know it by tomorrow. Ready? Sing it.
X equals b plus or minus the square root of b minus 4ac over 2a. Boom!
So you have to know that. So tomorrow during the quiz, you're going to hear people going.
I just think we're really bad at doing it.
I understand. All right. So let's plug it in. So does that make sense if I set it up like that? That way you can see things that are definitely there?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's my B value?
9. Oh wait.
-5. And then -5. And then my A value? 3. And C? And then the A value is still 3. So those are all the spots I have to plug in, right? Do the colors make sense? So the blue was what stays there. So it looks like I'm getting a -5. So a -5 is going to be +5, plus or minus. That's going to give me 25. And I get -4 times 3 is -12. -12 times 9. What's that? 18, 108. What's going to be under the square root sign? A positive or a negative number?
Negative.
Does everyone agree it's going to be a negative number? So 75, 83, -83. So what can you tell me the answer it has to be now?
Non-real.
Yeah. Non-real, so NRS. Just write NRS. That means there's no real solution. Real means you're talking about the real number system. The real number system is the actual name of the number system. Cool? What else did you see on the homework? Yeah?
6.
6, you got it.
Wait, what problem did you just do?
8. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So we're on, gonna do 6 now. Number 6. 2x squared minus 3x equals 5. Is that the right one? Okay. So I want it equal to 0, so I have to move the 5 over by subtracting it. Okay, so my A value is 2, my B value is -3, my C value is -5, and my quadratic formula is, sing it!
X equals -b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
All
I didn't
over
even do
2a.
Yeah.
All right. So again, let's plug in. Does that make sense so far? So we're going to plug -b in, or our b value, so it's -3. Then I get -3 squared minus 4 AC all over 2a. Agree? And then, do you think C is jealous?
Wow.
Yeah, it's only used once. I mean, C's got to, I think this is a union issue. C's got to contact the old alphabet saying, dude, I'm only being used once. X as well, but you know, X has at least got its own side. I'm sorry, I'm being dorky. All right, so does everyone agree that's a positive 3? And that's a positive 9? And then I get negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, and then negative 8 times negative 5 is positive 40. That's all over 4. So that gives me 3 plus or minus square root 49. What's the square root of 49? 7. Okay. So I get 3 plus or minus 7 over 4. So 3 plus 7 over 4 is one answer. That gives me 10 over 4, which reduces to 5 over 2. And then 3 minus 7 over 4 equals negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. There's my 2 answers. Yeah.
On the quiz, do you have to simplify it?
I would like you to, but like you. So I'm going to answer that 2 ways. If there's some of the problems that say, hey, just leave it as simplified radical, or simply get like 4 plus or minus square root 3 over 2 or something like that. Some of them will say, hey, what's the end of the square root? Yeah.
What if it's such a big number and like you don't
I won't do it to you. I won't do it. So that brings up one more point. You can totally use a calculator on it if you bring your own. No, you can't use your phone. I can't use your phone because there's a fun app out there which doesn't help you think.
Quick math.
Yeah, quick math. Take a picture of it, it works it out, and you're like, dude, it's all right there. Look how smart I am. It's like, you're really not smart. You're trying to plagiarize, take credit for something that isn't yours. What else do you got on that worksheet? Come on. Yeah, go ahead.
Can we do 4, please?
How much? 4. 4? Yeah. So please bring your own calculator. I will not supply one of mine. X squared minus 8, that one? Okay. And that's equal to 0. All right. So this one, my A value is 1. Is that okay? My B value is not there because there's not an X term. And my C value is negative 8. Right? Everyone good with how I identify those? And here we go. Sing it.
Yes, it does. I didn't even see the blue.
Perfect. All right. So again, I'm going to put my little parentheses. Okay. So negative 0 plus or minus square root of 0 squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. Agree? Hey, what's negative 0? Just 0, right? Okay, so I get 0 plus or minus 0 squared, so I get 0. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 8 is positive 32 all over 2. So I get 0 plus or minus root 32 over 2. Okay. Let's figure out what the square root of 32 is. I'm going to do it on my phone. Come on, baby. Go sideways.
Come on, baby. Come on, man.
Come on. Are we? Are we? Piece of junk. Not going sideways. Alright, you get the square root on yours? Oh, yours is so much cooler. Give me the square root of 32 to 2 decimal places.
5.65.
5.65, thank you. How did we do that? We took the square root of 32 and left it 2 decimal places. So my answer is going to be 5.65 over 2 and negative 5.65 over 2. Yeah, but what about the 0? Well, I added 0 to it and I subtracted 0 from it. So those are 2 answers. So you might see that kind of problem. Definitely I would recommend have that graphing calculator. Or not the graphing, but a calculator has a square root key on it. And again, I will not be lending out mine. Okay, yeah.
So for this one, you actually took the square root of it?
Yeah, I did.
Why didn't you break it down like the other one?
because sometimes I'll ask you to do that, and sometimes I'll ask you to break it down. So just make sure you take a look at the directions. And I'll make sure before we give it tomorrow, like I'll say, hey, okay, number 7 and 8, make sure you take the actual square root of it. And then number 9 and number 10, leave it as a simplified radical. So a simplified radical on this one. So this is just the 2 decimals here. If I did a simplified radical, I could break down root 32, breaks down to 2 and 16. So I'm going to get 4 root 2 over 2. And so that would give me an answer of 0 plus or minus 2 root 2. 0 plus or minus 2 root 2 are approximate. That's approximately the same as 5.65 over 2, negative 5.65 over 2. Anything else from the homework you want to see?
Oh, I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 17.
17. Ooh, good one. Look at that. All right, minus 31 minus 2x 6 minus 3x squared minus 2x. Is that the right one? Boy, I sure hope so, because that was an awful lot of writing. All right, so I want to bring everything over to the left side or everything over to the right side. There's really not a right or wrong. I think if I bring everything over to the right, cancel. 0 equals. That's going to be 4x squared. Those cancel, right? Minus 25. Ooh. Hey, it says solve each quadratic by the method of your choosing. Everything canceled out. It came out to 4x squared minus 25. What's special about that? It's missing a b value. It's got a subtraction sign, so there's a difference in there. Is the very first thing a perfect square? Yeah, 4x squared is 2x times 2x. Is the last thing a perfect square? 5 times 5. So this factors the difference of 2 squares. Could you use the quadratic on it? Sure, you just have the b value. But you could also say, well, this is going to factor 2x plus 5 and 2x minus 5. Set those both equal to 0. So that's going to give me 2x equals negative 5. So x equals negative 5 over 2. And that's going to give me 2x equals 5. So x equals 5 over 2. There's my 2 answers. So if you see the trick, it'll be quicker. You plugged it in the quadratic, you might be dealing with a pretty good sized number because your c value is negative 25. Anything else? All right. So we're going to change a few things up today. So let's see. Mr. Brown, will you be the person who collects the homework? Make sure your name's on it, please. And let's see. Christian and Joel, will you make sure everyone has a whiteboard and a marker and a sock? So one of you carries the tub around. There's markers and socks. Don't worry, the socks have only been worn like 20 times. And then, Joel, will you give everyone a whiteboard? And so what we'll do now is we're just going to kind of review things that we might see on the quiz tomorrow. So if you watch the second part of the video, maybe you have some. Thank you so much for doing that for me. Oh, leave Sawyer out.
¿Quieres uno específico?
It's okay, I didn't nail the lettering.
Sí, te voy a dar este. Nah, güey.
So this is a whiteboard review for us. I was going to put a few problems up.
Where'd you spell it? I know. Well, I know.
I got it.
Sí, pero a ti te tocó el calcetín. Por feo. Y te digo
No one can do that for me.
Nicole, ¿está la pantalla, güey?
We can talk like
Wait. Oye, ¿qué es eso?
Yeah, totally.
Wow, I just found this.
Sí, con una jugadora.
I just found this one.
Ah, mi escritura más buena. Esta, la M no, pero es. Me pregunto por qué.
Yes. Obviously, he's not. It's okay. Watch this. She wants one.
Escribe entonces.
All right, so we're gonna go through this bit of a review. Again, if you watch the video later. So, first thing, I want you to break down root 48 into exact components. So, don't just hit square root of 48 on a calculator. I want you to break it down into a smaller radical. 20 seconds left.
Oh. Okay, I think I know how to do this.
Yeah, voted. I got one correct. Hold it up when you get it. Nope. You're right. Yep. Nope.
I think I did it wrong.
Not. Nope. Nope. Yep. Yep. Nope. All right, let's work it out real quick. So, what do we have to do on this one? Those of you got it right, what do we have to do? We have to think about our perfect squares, right? 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49. Okay, it keeps going. You're not going to use 49, not going to use 36, not going to use 25. Does 16 work? Yeah, 16 times 3, right? So you're going to go 3 times 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So I get 4 square root 3. Okay. Ready for the next? All right. This one, you have the -7 outside, so you want to break it down into similar to the last one, but remember when whatever comes out as a square root, you have to multiply by that -7. Yeah, buddy. Not quite. Nope. Yes. Yes.
Wait, we have
Yes.
a test on this tomorrow?
Yes.
Or a quiz on quadratic?
Sorry, got it. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. Yes. All right, let's look at it. So what does 20 break down to?
5 5 and 4.
4 and 5, right? And the reason I'm not using 2 and 10 is 4 is the biggest perfect square. So the square root of that's going to give me 2 root 5, but we had that negative 7 outside, so that gives me negative 14 root 5, right? Cool. Can we move on? All right. I would like you to solve this by factoring it. Now, if you get hung up on the test and I say to factor and use the quadratic formula, you're going to get 1 point off. It'll be a 3-point problem. You'll get 1 point off if you didn't factor if you use quadratic. So remember, that could be a quick way. Let two numbers multiply to give me 12, add to give me 7. Yep. Good job, Joy.
Ooh, I got it.
Yep. Not quite. So think about what multiplies to give me 12 and adds to give me 7. Yeah. That's 4, 3, right? Negative 4, negative 3. And then solve it the rest of it. Set that equal to 0, set that equal to 0. Set each of those equal to 0. Not yet? Nope. Yep. Set each of those binomials equal to 0. Set your binomials equal to 0. So x plus 4 equals 0 and then solve it. That's it.
Do you have to do that?
Yeah, because it's equal to 0. So set your binomials equal to 0. Yep. 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 So if we go and factor, the quick way to do it, if the lead coefficient's 1, your quicker way could say, hey, I have x and x. If everything's positive, you have positive and positive. The factors of 12 that add to 7 are 3 and 4. These are equal to 0, so this gives me x equals negative 3. This gives me x equals negative 4. Cool. Feel all right? Ready for the next?
Yeah.
Factor this one. This one's going to be a little tougher. I will tell you, you're going to be dealing with 2x and x. See if you can figure it out. And you'll have alternating signs, but I don't know if the 2x has the plus next to it or has a subtraction. I don't know if the x has a plus or a minus next to it. You have to figure that out. And this way, if you're struggling on it, remember you might have to multiply that times that, get negative 12. Or shoot, said one thing and wrote something else totally different. Sorry about that. So you have positive and negative. Think of the factors of 12 that would add up to that. I think that's it. Close. Nope. See if this one works for you a little better. So darker. Maybe. I'll take your lightest color green ever. That might be it. Might be it. Don't erase it. Let me work it out first. I can't do them all in my head. Is that a little better marker for you? Yeah. Oliver? Yes. Darker? Cool. That might be it. Don't erase it yet. Let me work it out first. Can't do them in my head so quick sometimes. Sorry. $15 seconds. Nope. All right, so let's see if we can factor this out. Ready? I'm going to have a 2x squared. I'm going to have a minus 6. I'm Okay, the factors of 12 that add to 1 are 4 and 3. It's a negative 4 and a positive 3. So I'm going to get minus 4x plus 3x. Is that okay so far? Is that right?
Yeah.
No, you can.
Okay, so I can factor out a 2x on this one, and that gives me x minus 2. I can't factor anything out here, so it's got to be a 1. Or wait, I can factor a 3 out there. Excuse me. My gosh, I'll tell you, where did you guys get me from? So that gives me x minus 2 and 2x plus 3. And they're going to set those equal to 0. So that gives me x equals 2. That gives me 2x equals negative 3. So x equals negative 3. I think that's what I saw on a lot of your papers, negative 3 over 2. Cool? Okay, first thing I want you to do on this one is they want you to factor out a greatest common factor first before you factor the thing. Factor out a greatest common factor first. Okay, it doesn't affect the answer at all because it's only a number.
Oh, yes.
So for those of you that struggle on the greatest common factor, you get this. And then factor that little part. Dude, will that not factor?
No.
Oh. I'm sorry, you can't factor this one. So if you can't factor it, you should probably use the quadratic formula. So this might be one for the quadratic formula, but we'll focus more on these in a little bit, okay? So let's do this first. Write that out. That right there is worth your first 2 points on your quiz. You have to show me that you have it correct first before I let you move on the quiz. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Don't forget your plus or minus. Yep. Oh, wait. Let me see. That's b squared under the radical. Yep. So again, solve the best way to do it. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Again, that's 2 points. 2 points right there on your quiz. Very first question. What's the quadratic formula? What's always frustrating is like, I don't know any of this stuff. Yeah, okay. I guess you'll see this stuff again next year. All right, so I want to use the quadratic formula, and I want you to find me the decimal answers. So I'll allow you to use your cell phones now so you can do the square root on your cell phones. And then the exact radical. See if you can't figure those out. Woo! And QF means quadratic formula, right? Oh.
Wait, hold up. If it's the square root of b squared, why do we square root it?
Because you have b squared minus 4ac. You have to do all the math under that before you take the square root of it. You can't undo. It's like it's a whole quantity under there.
So then, why don't we just do, like, for example, this? Why don't we just do 7 minus the square root of 4 AC.
Because you have 7 squared minus 4 AC.
49 minus
Right?
8.
But square root of 7 squared is still 7.
Right, but you have to do b squared minus 4 AC is a whole quantity. You have to do that math first before you take square root. Okay?
Just 4.
Do you agree with that so far?
Of course.
Myself on the work.
Plus 1 minus of the square root.
Yeah, there it goes. So a square root key.
This is 41.
So you get this for one answer, negative 0.3, and this for your other answer.
Why do you figure out more?
6.7. There's my two answers. And that's negative as well. Cool. Yay or nay? So I'll either ask for the exact radical, and we'll identify that on the test, or the 2 decimal. And again, please, please, please have your own calculator. Okay. I'll tell you, like, we'll have like number 7 and number 8 a certain way, number 8 and 9, or 9 and 10 a certain way. But I'll tell you, we'll focus on it. So make sure you bring a calculator tomorrow. And then last one. So the big secret on this one is this. Right? Does everyone feel comfortable doing it? So A is 4, B is -3, C is -10, and Z is -8. That's the square.
3 squared negative 5. That's A, which is 4. And then C, which is negative 2.
Over 2 times 4. 3 plus 9 plus 160 over 8. Hey, what's the square root of 169?
13.
Yay, 13. So I get 3 plus or minus 13 over 8. Obviously, this one you're just going to get the single answer. So you get 16 over 8, which is 2, and negative 10 over 8, which is negative 5 over 4. And that's the only way to get your answer on that one. It works out perfectly. Cool? So the last part of this video is all review. If you feel comfortable with it, you should be able to do well. What do I want you to have memorized for tomorrow? Quadratic formula, please. And then please bring your own calculator. I'm not handing out my graphing calculators. Okay? And then a couple of Utes have some stuff still to make up. So let's see. Liz, we're going to take care of you, okay? I'm going to figure it out. What periods are you off, Liz?
3, 4, 6.
4, 6. What period is this? 5?
I can come to 6.
Can you come during 4th?
Yeah.
If you start coming in 4th, we'll get you caught up.
Yeah, 4th and 6.
Okay?
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Your homework is just to review. Make sure you have everything down for tonight, please.
I'm going to tutors tomorrow.
Okay?
So, wait, today's Tuesday, right?
I think so.